After all the doom and gloom I looked into with Anglo Arms, I was very, very pleased to find this on DNA Leisure's website. They've got a couple of other Anglo Arms knives. This one is, I think, particularly striking. It's the Anglo Arms 3D Knights Cross, and handsome thing it is as well. There's only any embossing on one side. The back is completely plain. It's 3D, as you can see. Nice bit of gold on there. Well, gold effect anyway. And even the detail is really quite impressive. For, I think it was £12 this thing was. I think that's pretty good. Now, you know, it's a budget knife, and I have been rude about Anglo Arms. I'm going to be rude about this one later on as well. Overall, though, I genuinely like Anglo Arms products. I genuinely like this knife as well. Flipper? Nearly. This, I guess, is some of the thinking recently that we may not be able to have flipper knives in the UK. Fortunately, we still can. There's a bit of jimping on either side of the flipper, which gives a nice little quality touch and a fairly cheap knife. The frame lock there, and a fairly simple construction, 2 pillars there, and then this pin holding the blade into place. Folds up nicely. Does sound a bit cheap, like that. Yeah. Centering, not too bad for a cheap knife. You can see there is a little bit of a gap between this outer plate and the frame of the knife, but again, it's £12, you know, what do you expect? The only thing really to be rude about is that you can just about see just there is what looks like a bit of glue. Fortunately, that came off fairly easily, and in fact it is a piece of dried glue. You know, it's possibly a quality control issue, but what do you really expect? It's a smart looking knife. It's one that I can happily play with for ages. Nice fuller in the blade. Talking of blade, how sharp do you want a cheap knife to be? So it's a sort of cheap knife that's actually pretty good quality, like most of Anglo Arms stuff, to be honest. That some of the stuff isn't very good, some of it is really good value for money, and I think this 3D Knights knife is one of them. I do want to get the other Knights knife, the sort of St George's one, but that doesn't seem, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be very available at the moment. Overall, then, is just tad over 8, about 8¼ inches, 21 centimeters roughly. Blade is just about 3¾ inches, 9.5 centimeters. Handle being then what, 12 centimeters or about 4.5 inches. It's not a very heavy knife. There's a lot of air in the construction of this, isn't there? But it is, I think, again, for £12, I think it represents fantastic value for money. You know, you're not going to be carrying this out and about. It's going to be sitting at home. It'll be just something, to be honest, it's one of those quite pleasant to play with type of knives. There is a technique, I'm sure you're aware of it, to flip that open a little bit faster. And yeah, this seems to be a little bit of an issue. The frame lock is a little bit sus. The first couple of times it wouldn't actually lock at all, but now it seems to be, most of the time it seems to lock into place really quite nicely. That's it. A £12 knife. You can't argue with it, really. It looks good. It cuts well. It's going to be a swine, I think, trying to keep an edge on that if you actually get to use it very often. Obviously, just on those Lansky Blade Medic things where you kind of pull it through, would avoid any horrible scratches. It certainly would if I was doing it. I think it's a nice knife. It's a nice bit of quality kit for the price, and